Right, so one of the next things to do is the scratch plate, the pickguard. I've got a set of plans for a P-base that I bought years ago. Never ever made one. It's still on the list of things to do. And I've printed out the template for the pickguard. But of course, my A3 printer is out of operation and it don't fit on a sheet of A4. But it's PDF plans, so you can tile it as a poster, and that's what I've done. I now need to carefully cut and stick these together to produce the template. So I'm going to trim this one. Acrobat put some little markers on the corners, so I'm going to cut that one off there. And then hopefully we can line that up on there, and we should get nope, obviously done that wrong. Ah, no, it wants to go there. Okay, I'm lining the wrong things up. Oh, that looks good. I just need something to stick that with now. So, going to try and stick one edge of this down so that we can glue the bit we're interested in. So, okay, so now I need a piece of MDF on which to glue that, to cut it out to make it a template that I can use on the router, or with the router. So let's hunt for a piece of suitable MDF. Right, so I've trimmed the template. I've found a piece of 9mm MDF, hacked this off of an odd shape that was once used as a template for cutting something else, and I'm going to try and use spray adhesive to stick this onto the MDF. So don't feel as though there's a lot of adhesive left in this aerosol. Right. That's good. So I'm going to go round with a centre punch and mark all the holes that are indicated. Now unfortunately these pickup cutouts don't actually have centres for the radius. At some point I'm going to need to drill and cut those out, but that now is ready to go over to the bandsaw to trim that out. So let's reposition the camera, see if I can show you me butchering it on the bandsaw. So, roughed out, time for the spindle sander, bobbin sander. So, here we go. This is a SIP bobbin spindle sander. I've got a number of different sanding drums for it. That's not the biggest diameter, but I'm going to start with that. Once again, I'm going to run the dust collection to try and keep the dreaded MDF dust out of the way. So, finished cutting out the MDF template, well, the outside edge, and I've drilled with a 1/16 drill through all the centres for everything that's marked. So that's the screws to hold it on the body, the tone and volume pop, and where the jack goes. I haven't done anything with the pickups yet. I was slightly concerned because this doesn't easily fit the end of the neck, but of course, looking at how the body and the neck go together, the scratch plate goes under the end of the fretboard, not against the end of the fretboard, and that's a reasonable fit. You can't see it from the front anyway because of the end of the fretboard. And I can't offer it up on the body because the piece of MDF is a lot thicker than the scratch plate is going to be. So I've got some, in amongst the other bits of stuff, I've got a new piece. It's called aerial glaze or aerial light. So I'm going to cut a test pickguard out of this, back in a bit. Right, so I took the piece of plastic and I've hacked it down. It's still much bigger than the piece of MDF. I've got a slight problem in that I need to think about how I'm going to finish. I'm going to make this as though I'm making the pucker scratch plate. If I could just stick the template on top of the plastic and then use a router cutter with bearing on the top in the table and run it round relatively easy. The problem comes in that I need to put either a bevel or a round over on the edge of the scratch plate, and that needs to be done on the top face, and with the template on the top, that's not going to happen because the template's in the way. So what I was thinking about trying to do was drilling through the holes where the scratch plate would be attached to the body with the scratch plate material under the template, and then taking it off and using those holes to put screws in to hold it down so as I can machine it. But then thinking about it, I'm not sure then I'm actually going to get, they're not going to go under flush for running the router. It'd be okay for trimming because I could use, but it wouldn't be any good for doing the bevel anyway. I need to stick it on, but I think I'm going to drill the holes anyway before I route the edge, and then I can use pins to realign it, and I can realign it on the top or the bottom. Gives me the option, hopefully. Right, so I'm going to try sticking this on the template and drilling through it.